Welcome to Season 2 of Stand Up and Stand Out, the show for those leaving university and heading into the workforce, or for those already working but disillusioned by their current job. I'm your host, Nikki Green, and we're here to help those in transition find a life with purpose so they can pursue their passion. Following nearly 2 decades working in Fortune 500 companies, I want to share my leadership learnings with all of you. Thought leaders are needed in all walks of life, not just business. And we're in a critical time to pivot ourselves and the community around us to build a better future together. There's no syllabus for this part of the journey. It's time for you to choose your own adventure. Let us help you map the path that aligns with your values and supports your goals and dreams. Work doesn't have to be a bad 4-letter word. By bringing your unique strengths to the table, the impossible can become possible. My stretch goal for this season will be to practice my Spanish, appreciate your support so I can achieve my goals, and keep pushing myself to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Let's get ready for the next episode. Bienvenido al episodio 14 de Parte y Sé Destacado. Welcome to episode 14 of Stand Up and Stand Out. Today, we're going to challenge your brain and your current thoughts on experience and employment. Before you can figure out how to make a living, you have to figure out how you want to live. In the previous episode, we talked about your values and the things that are important to you. As you prepare to graduate, I know many career coaches and counselors want to sit you down and jump right into writing your resume and landing interviews. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't know how to position yourself for the right role. And if you can't reframe your past experiences to show the correlation with the new experiences you want, you won't land the job of your dreams. This last week, I was volunteering at an event here in Chicago, and I met a number of amazing individuals from all walks of life. During the event, I was sitting next to the photographer, and we got to talking. I asked him if photography was a hobby or his full-time job. His response sounded a lot like many I've heard from others, and even myself over the years. The photographer said, "Oh, I've never had a job." And then he proceeded to provide a lengthy list of amazing opportunities and experiences he's had through working as a photographer. Sounds like you've been working pretty hard for someone without a job, I replied. He said, "Oh, well, I don't get a paycheck. It's not like a job with a pay stub. But you get paid, right? It's not just a hobby that you do for fun, is it?" I asked. Oh, yeah, I get paid, but it's so much fun. I meet people, I travel, I capture amazing moments in people's lives. I replied, "Sounds like you actually have the best job, the job that everyone else is looking for, but haven't yet found. And you get to pay bills while you enjoy the job. That's so awesome." He said, "I never thought about it like that. I guess you're right. Thanks." And aren't we all photographers and videographers in this generation, capturing every moment of our lives and the lives of those around us on social media? The importance of this profession, it could be the pinnacle of the next decade. Those that don't just add filters to hide the flaws of the current situation, but show the reality of our world with all its beauty and its flaws. It's a real talent. In my book, I Laugh in the Face of Danger, chapter 12 is called Words Have Meaning, Going Beyond Just, where I talk about my struggle with this concept. Early in my career, I downplayed my experiences. I had some perfect idea about what a resume-worthy career experience entailed. I was fortunate to have a random coworker point out to me, all experiences are valid, and they all lead you toward the path of your passion. We need to stop thinking in these rigid terms of work and job and career. The world doesn't work like this anymore, and it hasn't for a long time. There is no 9 to 5. Even my parents worked irregular schedules and sometimes 2 jobs to make ends meet. I don't know a single person my age that works normal hours, whatever that is. We all work as needed, when needed, and flex our life around that schedule. My parents taught me to work hard, but that work ethic never really did me any justice. In Silicon Valley, that just allowed poor managers to leverage my energy to reduce hiring. If I could do the work of two people at 70 hours a week, why hire another person at 40? I'll provide in the show notes a link to my recent Medium article, which is my entrepreneurial year in review, my chameleon year. Here, I talk about an important concept, and I want you guys to think about this. If money is no object, what do you do with your day? How would you spend it? When someone asks about my dream job, this is how I start the dream. I challenge you to sit back and think about this concept. Forget the degree and the years spent achieving it. Forget your parents' voice in your head telling you you have to have health benefits and, worry about your salary. Just let the creativity flow and dream. I was fortunate enough to enjoy a year of pure creativity to chase this dream and make it a reality. But it didn't come without the same doubts many of you might be feeling after graduation. I'm unemployed, my mind whispered. What will people think? What are you going to do with your days? Keeping myself busy, that's never been an issue. Keeping myself focused, on the other hand, it's always a struggle. Over the past year, I've also found myself falling into the bad patterns taught to me by my parents about working hard and reinforced with the insane hours of Silicon Valley. I realized I needed to rethink what it means to work. Work itself can be a confusing word. It means so many things and it has so many uses. Work can be a verb, a noun, an adjective. We work to raise our kids, maintain relationships with family and friends, and we even work to maintain healthy habits like going to the gym or worshiping at our version of church. I realized that work in my mind was always attached to this word hard, making me think it was difficult, it was challenging, and it was meant to be a struggle. I wanted a new association to words like easy, enjoyable, fulfilling. I realized I needed to change my work state of mind and begin to adopt an entrepreneur's mindset. For those of you following along on YouTube, you'll see some visuals for the next couple of sections just to kind of bring home the point. What does it mean to have a job? If you look job up in the dictionary, it says a paid position of regular employment. Well, that's pretty specific, I think. Regular employment, I get money. Okay, I've definitely had lots of jobs in my life. So how is that different from work? When I look up work, work is the physical or mental aspect of effort or activity. Well, I think it's kind of funny. Work isn't defined by money, but job is. And lastly, career. An occupation undertaken for a significant period of a person's life with opportunities for progression. So, wait, what's a significant period of my life? Has it happened already? Am I still waiting for that significant period? How do I know if I'm progressing? There seems to be no simple answer to these word riddles. It's no wonder we all struggle with these concepts. And the best one, the one I liked the most was, career is a metaphorical journey through learning, work, and other aspects of life. So if we think about that, career is more about your development, your growth, not the growth of your paycheck and not the amount of time you spend performing that activity each day, or even how long you've been at the same company. Your development, your career. We need to get this idea out of our heads that we're going to do the same thing forever. If you think about your career and your progression, it's about what you want to learn. It's about what makes you happy and how you're being fulfilled. Doing the same thing for their whole life, maybe that was true of the boomers, but the last two generations aren't following this. So why should you? I know you're kind of panicking because, well, you just went to school for a degree and you're assuming this is going to teach you enough to get you on your path. But it's really only the start. Things are going to change. They're going to evolve in ways you can't predict. And you're going to have to keep learning new things, just like that definition. Part of your career is learning. And many people have had to pivot to transform following this pandemic. It wasn't expected. It wasn't planned. And if they didn't have this mindset about learning and growing, they are struggling. And so I want to help you guys not struggle, to start with this mindset from the very beginning. But even though it wasn't expected and planned, the question is, but now what? The inspiring Jocelyn Brady, brain coach, joined us at the I Graduated Now What conference to share some of her thoughts on that exact question. Take it away, Jocelyn.
It would take another eruption of sorts for me to make a change. March 2020. We all remember that. All of my contracts with these multi-billion-dollar brands, poof, vanished. Oh my God. I learned this as a kid, but now in my later 30s, having to face this again, there's nothing like losing everything to show you what's possible. You have to face that question again. Now what? You're going to have to face that question again over and over and over. And that's when I decided, fuck it. I'm embracing this. I'm doing this full time. I embraced my role as a brain coach and I love it. You know what? That might change and that's okay. But right now, I get to help other people take that leap into the unknown. When everyone else is telling them that it's crazy, I get to help them and encourage them and be that voice that even their own brain might not provide. You know, your brain is designed to help you not die. And sometimes that comes at the cost of you pursuing what makes you feel most alive.
So what do I mean when I talk about work state of mind versus an entrepreneur state of mind? Maybe in school or maybe in books or YouTube videos, you might have heard of two concepts called a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And again, if you're on YouTube, you'll see the visuals. We'll also post them in the show notes on the website if you'd like to take a look and think about these concepts yourself. When you have a work state of mind or a fixed mindset, you think about work in a very fixed way, that it's external to you. And then you can very easily become disgruntled because your satisfaction about that job is based on external factors which you don't control. Let's say my boss doesn't appreciate my hard work. That's usually a pretty common one. That they just don't see how much you're putting in when you do really care about your job, but maybe your boss does not. That's always a tough one to reconcile. And again, it's out of your control. Tell me the tasks to be done and I'll complete them on time. So again, sort of carrying forward that fixed mindset you have from school. Here's my syllabus. Here's my assignment. Here's when the midterm is. Here's the finals. I know what these deadlines and milestones are. They're very finite and I can do things in a packaged way and be done and move on to the next. Work rarely works like that. Even when you have projects, they may carry over. You may have stuff you have to do. You have to pass from one person to the other. It's not going to be as simple as that past probably your first year or two that you begin working. And then again, external factors like, okay, where's my paycheck? Waiting and depending on others to pay you and making sure they're paying you properly and fairly for the amount of work and the type of work that you're doing. And lastly, is this day over yet? When all of these things continue to weigh on you with this work mindset, you get stuck in this rut of it's just not fulfilling, that those tasks don't always keep that momentum going inside of you. And so I like to have people sort of start to switch. And growth mindset, tons of great books and videos online about that. And it talks about learning new things. So back to our career definition again, at the heart of all of this is school is not the end of your learning journey. Your career is the beginning. This is when you actually get to tactically start learning some of those things hands-on and then adding on to them, adding on a real life example of what it means to do these things, which always helps you really figure out, do I actually like doing this? And then self-improvement. most of us don't like being stagnant. We like to do new things. We like to have new challenges. And that's part of what keeps a job interesting. And if you're always waiting for someone else to give you that new task and you're not raising your hand, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on development for your own sake of guiding your path forward. And last, taking risks and learning from mistakes. Maybe you think something about a job is going to be really interesting, a particular company, a particular boss, a particular type of work, but you get in there and maybe it's not. Or you try to do something bigger than your britches, as my mom would say, something that you just don't quite have the skill set to be able to do. But that's okay. That in a growth mindset, you accept your mistakes as learning lessons. You learn from them, you move on. You take risks and you get comfortable. You teach that constant adaptability. And now with this current generation and the way that work is happening for many of us, I'd like to add a layer on this about the entrepreneur's mindset. This really talks about thinking beyond yourself. In the growth mindset, you're still developing who you are. But as you think about things in an entrepreneur's way, and something I've had to do extensively this year, you start to think about the bigger picture. You think about things like, I wonder how my employees are doing today. Now, when you have a job, maybe you don't have employees, but you will think about it. How are my coworkers doing today? I wonder how my boss is feeling today. Actually thinking about the ecosystem around you rather than just yourself. With this great funnel of ideas, the revenue is going to be coming in no time. Instead of just worrying about your paycheck, actually being actively involved in how do I grow revenue or cut expenses or wherever you happen to sit within the food chain of an organization. There are many ways that you can optimize your time and really drive home new experiences for the business and for yourself. And then instead of watching your watch and wondering when the day is going to be over, waiting for that last Zoom call to end and hitting click, get me out of here. Maybe, hey, what if I just spent 30 more minutes? Not because I want to impress the boss, not because, I was told to and I've been forced to do this, but because I want to do something that's interesting to me. I want to gather people together and brainstorm on something that's been challenging all of us. An entrepreneur's mindset takes that growth mindset to this next level of change, adaptability, growth, community. It's really more holistic, which I love. So think about these things. We'll do some takeaways in the notes again, so you can check out on the website. Before we sign off, I want to bring back Jocelyn one more time with just so many wonderful nuggets, talking about how to explore yourself as you think about these big questions and not to get overwhelmed by the immensity of it. It is tough because there's so many unknowns, but she has a great nugget of information for you on this one. So listen in.
That's what I want for you. Do that thing, follow that thing, take that leap. It's scary. There will not be a perfect job. And I'll leave you with this. There's an end of life care specialist. Her name is Bronnie Ware. You may have heard me talk about it, anybody who knows me. I talk about this a lot, like I said, deathbed you. Bronnie works with people in the last few weeks of their life in hospice, and she says the top regrets of the dying consists of this. I wish I lived a life that was true to me and not what someone else expected. They say, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I'd spent more time with my friends. I wish I'd allowed myself to be happier. She says that fear of change had them pretending to others and to themselves that they were content when deep down they longed to laugh properly and have silliness in their lives again. Enter brain cap or dressing like a penguin, another thing I like to do. We can talk more about that later as well. So now what? That's a question for all of you. You don't need to know exactly what it is yet. You don't need to know what you want to be when you grow up or what you want to be by the time you're dead. Just allow yourself to explore and to play and to follow your curiosity. You never know where that's going to take you. So I would just ask you, what is one thing you can do today to make that happen? If you love photography, can you take one photo? If you love books and writing, can you write one sentence? What is one tiny step you can take today? Because nothing is going to be perfect, but you'll never know what's possible until you try. So now what?
Thanks, Jocelyn. That was awesome, as always. So think about it that way. Think about one step, one thing you can do. It's great to dream, but I know many of us get overwhelmed with the how. For so long, we've been given this step-by-step syllabus of what to follow. And to think too big gets us overwhelmed, starts to create anxiety. We already had that episode. Go back to episode 12. We're not here to stress. We're not here to start thinking bad about ourselves that we're not going to get there. Just try one thing. Take that risk. And if it's a mistake, it's a mistake. It's okay. We have a very long journey ahead of us. And you won't know if you don't take the first step. And don't be afraid to step sideways, to step left, step right, or go twice as fast if you're ready. There are so many ways to do this path, and you need to customize it to yourself. So back to today's important question. If money is no object, what do you do with your day? How would you spend it? Thanks everyone for joining us today. It's been a blast. I can't wait to see what you guys are thinking of as possible options for work. Happy to provide some more inspiration and some cool things coming in the next episodes. Thanks to our guest, Jocelyn. You'll find her information on our website as well as in our social media and the show notes as always. Thank you guys for joining us and good luck with dreaming your big dream of work. Well, another awesome show in the books. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed making it. For video outtakes of the show, don't forget to catch us on TikTok You Don't Stop at Nikki Green 678. The full-length shows are available on all the podcast platforms now, including Amazon Music, Stitcher, and Good Pods. The full video is available on Nikki's YouTube channel, and links to all of our social media, including info about our guests, is available in our show notes and on our website at www.greenchameleoncollective.com/podcast. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye.